Elon has said that his time as a special government employee has come to a conclusion. He put this out on X, the platform that he owns, which now is actually a free speech platform. As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. So Elon is going to go back to being the most important single CEO and business. I don't like the term thought leader, right? Because it's like thought leader, but I mean the guy is a thought leader, but I don't like to use that term. But he's going to go back to doing the full Elon routine, which is going to be, I think, great for SpaceX, for Tesla, for X, for Boring Company, for all the things that he is involved in. So this is where we get into a little bit, speaking of expectations management, of they've done what they could do. He did not unilaterally, and this was known all along, he does not unilaterally have the authority, the power. Doge didn't have to just say these cuts are going into effect. Money that Congress has appropriated. If Congress says this, this program for fiscal year 2025 has $10 million or $10 billion, Doge couldn't just come along and say, yeah, they don't have $10 billion anymore. But this is where rescissions come in. This also goes to our conversations over the big, beautiful bill. There's been a little bit of pushback here, including from some of the most pro-Trump voices you will find in the Senate and just in general, who are saying, hey, Trump, I love you. With all respect, you're doing great things. We all get that. This isn't like some never Trumpy whine fest. You're like, but like, I don't like the way you said it. No, that's for libs. That's for fake Republicans. This is just about, okay, it's halftime. It's not even halftime, to be clear. It's early. It's a timeout in the first quarter of this administration. And we're all huddled together. And some of us are saying, hey, Trump, thank you for being the quarterback. But, can you hit that guy on the button hook? Clay would be proud, by the way. I'm just going to say, look at that button hook. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's the mentality, or rather that's the rationale behind some of the pushback on this from people like Senator Ron Johnson, people like Senator Rand Paul. They're on board for the mission, but they want to shape this. This is why it goes to the Senate. I bring it up because, yesterday I said we can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And I think someone in the administration said it later that day. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to misquote, but I heard somebody else say it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They listened to this show. So I'm happy to help. Happy to help. And if that means I throw around a cliche that somebody else will have in their head later, great. But we've talked about the process, and Stephen Miller, I read his post on the big, beautiful bill, still in process. And there are big things in this bill that will affect us, that will affect your family budget, that will affect the business that you own or that you work for in your town. I mean, this real stuff, right? This isn't sitting around arguing about the naming of the next post office in Topeka. No offense, Topeka. But this is about big economic issues, structural issues, and setting the economy on a footing that will allow it to get to the best possible places, right? I mean, tremendous prosperity, which I'm very confident in. I have not been gloom and doom about the Trump economy since he won that election for one moment, for one day, even when, the Trump recession is here, the market has dropped. You can go back and listen to those shows. We're like, I kept saying he knows what he's doing. Everyone just who's freaking out needs to, as I believe they would say here in South Florida, tranquilo. Everyone just needs to calm down. It's fine. Okay. Nothing terrible has happened. He knows what he's doing. Part of the complaints about the big, beautiful bill, though, have been on where are the cuts? Where is Doge and the ethos of Doge being made real? And this is where you have OMB director Russell Vought, who was on the Kudlow show, saying that, yes, in fact, the administration is sending a rescissions package to Congress. Let's hear it from the OMB director himself. Play 4.
I can. We'll be sending that up on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the House is back in session. They will get our first rescissions bill. And again, this has been proposed, and we've talked about it. We want to make sure that Congress passes its first rescissions bill, including the DOGE, and we will send more if they pass it. And so this is the first one is foreign aid, USAID cuts, many of the waste and garbage that was funding not only wasteful but hurting our foreign policy, but also the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and NPR. We'll be sending that up, and we're working with Congress, and we've had good conversations to make sure that they knew what was coming. They had some input as to changes that could be made to make it something that could pass the House, and we're excited for that to occur next week.
There you have it. I said, hold on a second. Where are the Doge cuts in the big, beautiful bill? And Stephen Miller, who understands this process as well as anybody, because he is at the center of what's going on in this White House. He is absolutely dialed in, and he explained it to everybody. And he said, look, this is how it has to happen within the system. And let's be honest, even if you follow government and politics for a living, some of this stuff, I'll tell you this, some members of Congress don't even know this stuff that well. Their staff members do, their staffers do, and they brief them on it, but they're like, wait, I got to do the who's a what's it here? How does this work? Stephen Miller came out and said, here is what has to happen for the cuts to become real and final or to come to fruition. And now that process has gone to the next step. And now you'll see, okay, does USAID, does the budget, does Congress do what it's supposed to do? Does PBS get its government funding cut? I have, I think, the most perfect argument about this of anybody, or anyone else is welcome to borrow. But I like to make arguments, then other people can borrow them. That's fine. I just want the truth to win. But PBS and anybody else who is getting straight up government funding as a media entity, they cannot claim simultaneously, oh, we don't really need that funding. It's only a small percentage of our budget, and comma, how dare they cut our budget? What are we going to do? This is tyranny. You are not entitled to federal funds as a media entity. This is insane. I imagine all of a sudden, and I would just say this, why is PBS getting money from the government? Clay and Buck Show doesn't get any money from the government. We're a capitalist enterprise, thanks to all of you who listen, and thanks to all of you who make our sponsors so successful in the campaigns we have and the partnerships we have on this show. It is thanks to you that this show exists. There's no, I mean, it would be kind of nice, I don't know, get a check for $10 million for the government. We'd give bonuses for the New York team or something out of that, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing that you sit there and you say, how has this even been able to exist as long as it has? And I want to get into this a little bit more on the Trump fight with Harvard, which I'll dive into in the bottom, which I think this stuff is important. And there's a new addition to this too about foreign students from China. What's going on here? Were we bringing the best and the brightest from Moscow to study at Caltech and MIT in, I don't know, nuclear engineering or something? Were we doing that during the Cold War? I'm not aware of it in any real numbers. I mean, there was a lot of espionage going on, but I don't think we were welcoming, tens of thousands of students from Moscow to come work at high levels of sensitive. But we're doing that with China. We have been doing, and it's so dumb and so contra the national interest that when you say it out loud, it almost feels like, how is this possible? And then you can even take it a step further. How many Americans are getting access to the research being done by, I don't know what the top Chinese universities are, but let's just say the equivalent of University of Beijing. How many Americans are sitting in their classes learning about 5G, learning about artificial intelligence, learning about next generation of microchips and supercomputers, all that? We all know the answer. Even if you don't follow the issue, you know the answer, because you'd say, well, China's not that dumb. But we are? Trump comes along. This is one of his superpowers. The dumb things that we have as a country have been doing for such a long time that we just start to think that this is the way it has to be because it seems like it's always been that way. Trump comes along and says, that's a dumb thing and we should stop doing it. Whether it's getting involved in foreign wars that we're not going to win and that aren't bringing any benefit to us or even the people in that country over the long term, or it's something as straightforward as why are we educating at the highest possible levels insensitive. They want to study Shakespeare. Okay, I'm a little more open to it as long as there's no Americans who are losing that spot in that school, whole other conversation. But the top electrical engineering, top microprocessor, top theoretical physics, astrophysics, we're educating our biggest adversaries' students. And by the way, in numbers that would blow your mind. I actually had a conversation randomly with the guy in the Princeton University electrical engineering labs a long time ago, and he said that if they wanted to, this was a long time ago, it was back when I was just out of school. And he said if they wanted to, they could take 3 classes, or 3 times as many students as they have from just China with perfect scores for engineering. I mean, perfect math scores, everything. He says, they don't take that many. It's not 100%, but they could because they all want to come, and they take a lot of them. And that's true of a lot of these schools. That needs to stop because they operate in America and they have to start seeing themselves as part of this country. They are not islands unto themselves. They do not have global tenure. So, if anything, what you're seeing right now is Trump putting into action that very important but very straightforward theory, the dumb things that prior administrations have done, that there can be no intelligent defense of, whether it is funding PBS. I know they do it because it's left-wing propaganda, but there's no real defense of this. Not a serious defense, not an intellectually consistent one, or spending too much money, fraudulent stuff, sending money to people overseas, the stuff that Doge has found. Dumb, right? We can all agree. Or training the foreign adversaries' brightest minds in the most sensitive technologies when the wars and the economies of the future will be determined by technological prowess. Very dumb. And it is, as I said, Trump's superpower among several, but one of his superpowers is to come along and say, I no longer wish this country to do the things that we all know are dumb, but have just kept doing with no good reason other than maybe politics or corruption. If you've received any IRS notices, don't ignore them, but don't panic either. The experts at Rush Tax Resolution, maybe taxperts, that's kind of cool. Rush Tax Resolution, they can help you. If you own a business and are behind on payroll taxes, the IRS has the power to shut you down, drain your bank account, and come after you personally. I just got a letter in the mail from the tax authority recently. Every time you open it, you go, oh my gosh, I just went through a 2-year audit. This happens. And if you've gotten really behind, I know you can be freaked out. But the longer you wait, it doesn't go away. You're in that system. And actually, the longer you wait, the easier it is for them. They have more leverage. They have bigger fines. They have more stuff they can throw at you. Rush Tax Resolution can come in and help. Jot down this number, 877-554-RUSH. That's 877-554-RUSH. Or you can go to rushtaxresolution.com. And when you do this, by the way, a Rush Tax Resolution attorney will be on your side to get you peace of mind if they take your case. They know what to do. They can also do a free IRS transcript investigation for you, which other firms will charge $500 for, and they don't even know if they can help you. Rush Tax Resolution will only take your case if they know they can help, period. Call this number, 877-554-RUSH. That's 877-554-RUSH, or go to rushtaxresolution.com.